Hey, YouTube! Look, look at what I got. Look at these bourbons. Weller 12. Weller Antique. Old Weller Antique. So you want to learn how to make poor man's Pappy. Poor man's Pappy. What is it? What is Pappy? Pappy Van Winkle. If you are into whiskey at all, into bourbon at all, then you know that there is a limited yearly release of a special storied bourbon series, the Pappy Van Winkle. I'm not gonna go into too much detail. You probably already know it if you're watching it. If you don't know it, well, then I'll just say that it's a very rare, hard to find whiskey that is usually bought. It's all sold out the day it's released, and then people who buy it usually resell it for 5, 6, 10 times what they paid for it. Very frustrating for those of us who would like to try it, but who can't. So I have never had Pappy Van Winkle, any of it. But these two whiskeys are made using a similar mash bill, probably the same mash bill, and produced by the same company. Now, legend has it, or rumor has it, or the internet has it, that you can mix these two together in certain proportions and it will yield a whiskey mixture that is better tasting than either one of these separately and may be similar to Pappy Van Winkle 15 year, which is considered by many to be the greatest whiskey on God's blue and green earth, which I can't confirm because I've never had it. But the problem is that these whiskeys, 12 and Old Weller Antique, they're becoming just as rare. They get sold out everywhere. I live in a small town in West Texas. I had to go to Dallas to find this, and I had to go to Lubbock to get this. Dallas is about 250 miles from my house, and Lubbock is 100. So I was very fortunate, I guess, to find these separate components. So we're going to create Poor Man's Pappy. Now, the internet, and I can't really cite sources, but basically, we're going to create a mixture that is 60% of the Old Weller Antique and 40% of the Weller 12. 60 Old Weller Antique, 40% Weller 12. A 3-to-2 ratio. And I have a mason jar. I've already pre-labeled it. I have a scale right here. We're going to set it down. And I have a jar in which I'm going to mix the components. Now, if you wish to yield, and I'll probably put this in the description, if you wish to yield 750 milliliters, which will fill up most of this, 750 milliliters, that's about this much. What you will need to use is 450 milliliters of Old Weller Antique and 300 milliliters of Weller 12. Now I'm also going to go create a second mixture. There is another ratio that calls for 68% of Weller 12, 28% of the Antique, and 5% spring water. And I'm going to put it in this. I'm only going to make about 350 milliliters. But that'll be the second thing we do. So, I'll have all the numbers written out for you, and we'll go through the process right now of actually mixing, and then at the end of the video, I'll maybe sample it. Conventional wisdom says to let these things sit for 6 weeks. Most people who've done it say just let it sit for 2 to 3 weeks to let the whiskeys mingle. My brothers will be in town in a couple months, and I might make a video of us tasting the Poor Man's Pappy and maybe comparing it to these. Okay, so let's start out. I'm going to put, these have all been cleaned out. They've been rinsed out and everything. They're clean. We're going to go with 450 milliliters of, not this one. We're going to go with 450 milliliters. If you have a scale, it's also just going to be grams. So 450 grams of Old Weller Antique. Here we go. I've already got it teared out. And this thing is accurate to 1/10 of a gram. I use it for my coffee. Ooh, we're getting up there. Oh man. All right, I'm gonna let it go to about 400, and then I'm gonna dump it into the thing, and then I'll add another 50. Ooh, real close. Okay. So that's 400 so far. And I'm not gonna bother with like rinsing it out because they're all gonna go together. Whoa, that's So let's add 50. All right. That's in there. That's the Old Weller Antique. Wow, there's not much left. That's okay. All right, next it calls for 300 mils of Weller 12. We got room for that. Wait, hold on. Okay, tear out. There you go. Yeah, 300 of the 12. There's even a little measuring thing, but I like to go by weight. And it's a good thing I did because that is a little, it's a little off. It's a little off. But here we go. Whoa, look at that. Yes. Okay. Poor man's Pappy. All right. That is our first mixture. This is our 60-40 mixture. 60% Old Weller Antiques, 40% Weller 12. All right. Next is the 68-27-5. This is 68% Weller 12. It's 27% Old Weller Antique and 5% water. Now, I've already redone the ratios. Now, if you want to yield 350 milliliters, which will dang near fill this up, here we go. It's going to be 238 milliliters of the 12 of the Weller 12, and I think we'll have a little bit of this left over. It's pretty good stuff in its own right. Okay, we're getting there. We're almost there. Yep. Boom. All right, so we're going to mix it in here. Okay. And then it calls for 94.5 mils of the Old Weller Antique. And if you're still watching this, good for you. I mean, I'm glad. I put a lot of videos out. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. Come on. I'm trying to be very precise. A little bit over. Good enough. My palate's not that sophisticated. And then 5%, so that's about 17.5 mLs. Well, since I went just slightly over, well, not much. It calls for spring water. West Texas reverse osmosis is going to have to do. All right. That is mixed. So, very similar in color. Very nice. All right, so that is our poor man's Pappy. I guess, no, that's not it. We gotta sample it. I'll probably sample the larger of the two. I mean, I do have like the little Glencairn glass, you know, the fancy looking thing, but come on, let's. We're Southern engineering some Pappy Van Winkle, so we don't need to be fancy here. Okay, it's very good. You know what? I'm gonna smell it from in here. I'll get a little bit better nose off of it. Got lots of wood and oak. You got the oaky flavors. A little bit of vanilla and sweetness and peppery spice. I like it. All right. A very nice amber color. It looks more reddish in the jar. It tends to clear out a little bit in the shot glass, but that just may be the lighting. Who knows? I'm no expert. I'm just a guy who can't afford a bottle of Pappy 15. So, brand new Pappy, poor man's Pappy. Here we go. Little heat. Definitely got the vanilla and the spice. It's kind of similar to the nose. Definitely lots of oak there. It's a little harsh. I mean, there's a lot of that Old Weller Antique. It's 107 proof in there. So that's probably why they want us to let it rest. Let those flavors mingle. So, I mean, very good. Let me chase that a little bit. Okay. Well, thank you all for watching. If you're not subscribed to my channel, you don't have to if you don't want to, but there will probably in the future be a taste test with me and my brothers doing these, probably against the Weller 12 or the Antique. Unfortunately, we do not have a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle 15 year, so if anybody out there wants to send me one, we'll be able to do a proper comparison. I can't even do a straight face. I can't even keep a straight face with that. You just send me a bottle of Pappy 15 year. But if you're not subscribed, my channel is mainly focused on pipes and cigars. And if you are subscribed, hi, how you doing? I'm doing a whiskey video. Okay, that's it. I want to thank you all for watching. If you liked it, you can hit the like button. If you didn't like it, you can hit the dislike button or leave a comment. I'm cool, even if you didn't watch it, which the majority of the planet has not. I'm cool with it. Okay, so thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. Stay, if you, I definitely am going to try to get some updates on this once it settles down. And everybody have a pleasant rest of your week, day, year, whatever.